Cane Dogs, just before we start, there's a little button on the back of your microphone. Can you just poke him on? Detective Pikachu. Boom!
Oh. He did it, ladies and gentlemen. He fucking nailed it.
Hey, Team Angus Strachan here. Welcome to the Film Slice Podcast. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Kane Diggly Wiggly Cane Dogs.
Hi, I guess.
Bro Diddly Doo Bro Man. The man formerly known as Bro Diddly Doo Bro Man Richards. This week he is known as...
Oh, you've been doing it the past couple of times, so I thought I'd...
you've been doing it the past couple of times, so I thought I had to.
No.
Pikachu. My name's Pikachu.
All right, we're in the studio with Pikachu. That's right, this week we are reviewing Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Cane Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Want to whip out that IMDb summary?
IMDb summary.
All right. In a world where people collect Pokemon to do battle, a boy comes across an intelligent talking Pikachu who seeks to be a detective.
Oh, that's it.
That's all, yeah.
That's it. That's the whole nut.
And it's not even what it's about, but that's a bit of it. So, just going into this, who here grew up or cares about Pokemon?
I grew up and I semi-care about Pokemon.
Yeah, I also grew up. I don't really care about Pokemon.
Yeah,
I grew up with Pokemon, if that's what you meant.
So, I grew up mainly being a Dragon Ball Z guy.
Yeah, similar to Pokemon, go around, catch as many Gokus as possible.
And
and then force them to fight each other till death.
And everyone knows that you can't love two separate animes.
Nah.
Yeah, because it was like
right.
that, and then I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, we got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Together for a while, just us two, not Brody. And,
don't like Yu-Gi-Oh!
And then I sort of got into Digimon a bit and realised how much better Digimon is to Pokemon, and I will fight anybody who disagrees.
I disagree.
Alright, round one.
Bloody bring it, man. Bring it.
I choose Zapdos!
Because I couldn't get over the fact that Pokemon was just like...
Pokemon don't talk?
Find an animal in the wild, immediately capture them, force them to live in a ball, and only let them out to fight someone.
It's like ultimate cockfighting.
Yeah, it's bloody brilliant.
It's a bit tricky.
Do the people in the world of Pokemon eat Pokemon as food? Because there's no other kind of animals, right? It's just Pokemon.
I have a lot of questions related.
So does that mean that they have like Pokemon farms and they eat like Pokemon? Like if you see someone eating sushi in the world of Pokemon, are they eating
a Magikarp?
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions related to Pokemon.
Probably. Yeah. I figured as much.
Just because there's so many times, I remember episodes where it's always like, "You're gonna lose, Ash," and he's always like, "No, I'll use Pikachu," which basically means the odds are against me. But I don't care if I send in, like, my best friend who's a dog to die.
Who's a dog?
Fingers crossed. I'm just trying to think, because I was like, I never had any pets, so I was like, oh, God, if I had a pet, I'd certainly train them to fight other pets. Like...
Jeez, you should not own pets.
Anyway,
we watched a film.
We watched a film, yeah. When'd you see the movie, what'd you think?
When'd you see the movie? What did you think? Do you like the movie? None of the shit. I saw it this morning. Thought it was better than expected.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Cane Dogs, when did you see it?
I saw it yesterday, being Saturday, and there was quite a lot of hype surrounding the film to the point where when we first went to go and see it, the session had been completely sold out, so we had to buy tickets and go spend time with each other, which, you know... and then we came back and then had to watch the movie. And I'm kidding. If you're listening to this, I love you very much. Please don't kick me out of the house.
You're talking about your mum?
Yeah. We're cutting all of that. Yeah. And then, so we came back and there was like a line of people. And I'd heard really good things about the movie. So I probably went in with high expectations. And so it was fine, but also really shit.
I saw the movie last night also. And if
you want to hear Angus's opinion, it's on YouTube. Head over to Strachan. His opinion's on there. Moving on.
All right. Lads, you know how every week we put up on Instagram and no longer Twitter what movie we're reviewing and ask our slicers out there what they thought of it.
Yep. I mean, I also do it, but I'm glad I'm not in the intro.
Jordan also does a thing. Guess how many comments we got?
No, 3.
Probably 2 of which are Brody and 1 of which is Brody's friend.
Well, we got 4 and a bloody DM. So, first one is from our long-time listener, Connor Kelly. He says, seeing it tonight, but I'll let you know.
Did he ever let us know?
He did. That's
okay. Good on him.
That's the DM.
Okay.
Spoiler, that's the DM.
Would have been great if he just never got back to us.
I
I mean, that being said, I'm really glad you wrote in. Hi, Connor.
Thank you, Connor.
Thank you for writing in.
This next one's from Ham_Zimmer. He says, CGI was amazing. The plot was not really. Things were happening too fast. Also, spoiler, was just a bit too much salt on my meat casserole.
Oh, okay.
I know exactly how he feels. Too much salt on my meat casserole too.
I
fair
think that we should get a photo of Connor Kelly and we should put it on the wall of where we record the podcast as like
With
our
a
patron
microphone.
saint. Yeah. so he's just always here with us.
I like that. Let's do that.
So Connor, if you could send in a picture.
Actually, wait till you're 18, then send in like a profile
send in
picture of yourself.
Yeah, maybe not before.
Not before. Sorry, Connor.
Next one from not.flimslice.host.
Flimslice?
Yep, a Flimslice. Yeah,
Okay.
different
New
guy.
listener,
guy.
new listener.
Yeah.
Twins, though. Uncreative parents.
They say, I dislike Lauren.
Fair enough. Lauren, not good.
Yeah.
Get rid of her.
Take that, Lauren.
Man.
And our last one from Hooverman91
Yeah,
says,
fair enough.
Jordan should shave. He can't even grow a proper beard. Hashtag not a real man.
Look, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will only keep me up at night.
But Hooverman's getting pretty close. True to his word, Connor Kelly did end up going to see Pokemon.
Edge.
And he
good.
said,
I was worried.
I thought it was really good. It did what I wanted it to as a Pokemon fan. Solid story and likable characters. Ryan Reynolds is a genius, as usual. The effects were amazing. It was so cool to see all my favorite Pokemon brought to life. Especially...
Is that you or him?
No, that's me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Have you had a small stroke?
Yes. Who is one of my faves from all gens after Gen 1. Cliche British baddies was a bit dry, but it worked for the story. 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
8 out of 10 tortoises.
Fair enough. This...
That's not even a Pokemon. That's just a creature.
Cane Dogs, anyone hit you up on Facey?
We do. We have a few. Yeah, I put up a fantastic photoshopped image, and then I accidentally...
kind of blowing your own horn a bit there.
No, I
Sure.
say fantastic.
Continue.
I mean,
I put up a fantastic Photoshop, if I may say so myself, of how good my work was.
well, funny you say that, but I also, when I put it up, accidentally drew a massive black line over the image with my thumb. And then I had to go back and correct that, but not before Georgina Bramwell got in a bunch of dick jokes because it was poorly drawn.
Fair enough.
Okay, we also got Georgina Bramwell says, I don't know who that is.
Nah, neither.
Never met her.
Sounds like a bit of a nice person.
I'm sure she's lovely and definitely...
Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah. Alright, I really liked it, but I feel it would be better without kids, because they just kept naming all the Pokemon, and all I could think about was, I already know that. Plus, they kept guessing the end. Also, their dad was the best because he said, I thought this was a movie about catching Pokemon. Apparently it's a detective movie. Which is weird, because I thought it was called Detective Pikachu. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pika Pika. I hate that she made me say that.
Jordan, your catchphrase, Pika Pika. Hear it on this podcast every episode from here on.
If someone writes in every episode to make me read that, I will have to. This is now consistently writing in Michaela Milanovic. I'm going to have a go. Milanovic.
I like how that's her title. Like, we've got long-time listeners and now consistently
Now
written.
consistently writing in.
Consistently.
Well, I mean, it's only been 3 weeks. It's just consistently been 3 weeks.
Smith?
Milanovic. Yeah, Smith.
Okay.
Thoughts on the trailer? She hasn't seen the movie, I suppose. Not something I'm gonna watch at the movies, even though it's got 3 things I like: detectives, Pokemon, and Ryan Reynolds. I just don't think it's my type of humor. I didn't laugh much at the trailer. We got one more.
Okay, go.
Kind of. I asked my brother, who's also been consistently writing in, what he thought, if he had any opinions, and he wrote, no. The only thing I thought when I saw the film is, why? And that's all he wrote.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Wow.
All right, that's what our Slices thought of this week. Detective Pikachu. Here we go. Would you recommend it? And who would you recommend it to? Buddy Pikachu, start with you.
Sure thing. I would
choose you.
recommend this.
Damn it! Why did I do that? Anyway.
Too late.
You should have saved it and done it later.
Yeah.
You've wasted
No
both opportunities.
Yep. Dog. Complete dog.
You're going to have to think of some better ones now.
So, I'd recommend it to anyone that loves Pokemon, obviously.
Makes sense, yeah.
Pretty much obviously.
You stole my answer! Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Should have been quicker on the draw. That's pretty much it. It's not like anything amazing to like must go see. I guess it's fun. It's kind of lighthearted. So if you're just like, oh, what do we do tonight? You can go see this and you'll have a decent time.
Yep. Kane Dogs, anything to add?
Yeah, just to add on top of that, I guess if you really love Ryan Reynolds and everything he does, this as well.
Definitely.
I wouldn't recommend it to pretty much anyone else, though. If you like Pokemon, great. I think this movie is 90% fan service.
Yeah.
The way I described it is... We all watched Endgame. We agreed that movie was great because of the fan service that was in it.
Yeah.
But as a movie, there's a lot of plot holes.
Yeah.
And if you didn't care about any of those characters, it's probably not a great film. This is the same for me, except I don't care about any of those characters. So watching it, I was like, this isn't a good movie, but I get why everyone loves it.
Yeah.
And it's because everybody else is going to be like, oh, that Pokemon and that Pokemon. But I'm like, I don't know any of them. It's bad acting.
Yeah. I'm just going to add on to that. I would also recommend young kids to go see it who maybe don't know a lot about Pokemon.
But there's no reference to Fortnite in it.
This is true.
So they don't care.
Young kids will enjoy this film because it's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where like you can read the plot pretty easily, but for a young kid that's like, oh, I figured it out before they did. Like, that's exciting.
It'll be one of their first introductions to rich white guy, bad guy.
So, yeah. So definitely recommend it to little kids. And also, this is probably a better movie to take your girlfriend to than a superhero movie because, I mean, the Pokemon are just kind of cute. I had a couple next to me and the girlfriend was just like, oh, Pikachu's so cute.
Chris
like,
Evans is cute.
Every scene.
I mean...
Well, he is the arse of America.
That is American's ass.
Sorry, I got it wrong. Not the arse of America.
He's the arse of America. He's a completely different person.
One of them is an insult.
He is the arse of America.
He's America's biggest asshole. You're right.
I'm pretty sure I got that right, yeah.
You heard it here. Angus hates Chris Evans.
All right, let's head on into spoilers.
Oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
All right,
Welcome
we are in
to
the
spoiler section
where we dissect and divulge everything about the film. You've been warned.
Shane
warned.
We know you're listening.
Bring it
back.
Still
listening.
Any dicks
Cinema
in
dicks.
your cinemas?
Yeah. Cinema dicks.
Look, I sat down and we had a whole bunch of kids in our cinema, and I was kind of like, you know what, this would be great because although I'm not that into it, it's going to be awesome to watch with the kids, not on Bollywood. It's going to be awesome to have all the kids, get really excited and have the atmosphere.
And thus, the end of the podcast. It wasn't.
And there was, a family next to me on my right, and it was, a couple of kids.
Yeah.
And the mum, and I was like, oh, this would be nice, because I'll have the atmosphere, and I'll, get to experience what they're sort of thinking about the film, and I can take that in. And then the mum was just the meanest person I've ever, they were like... Oh, that's Pikachu. She was like, shut up, you little son of a bitch. She just hated them the whole... It was incredible. But she was...
Maybe don't have kids.
She was
like that.
Look...
Also, happy Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day today that we're recording.
It was one of those things where, from one perspective, what a horrible person, but from the other perspective, I don't know that those kids hadn't spent all day kicking her in the shin. But it was just by the time
those little shin kickers.
It was by the time they got to that movie, she had clearly had enough. They were naming all of them, but every time they did, she was like, shut up. It was incredible, but yeah, cinema bitch.
Jeez, not even in the
new title
category. Wow.
New category.
New category.
Pikachu. I choose you.
Yeah,
God damn it.
Yeah, got him.
Mine goes back to mine's a legacy one. Mine goes way back to the invention of mobile phones. I used my mobile phone in the cinema because there was a train that was pretty much leaving right when the film ended. So literally when
cinema dick.
When it went black, I walked out and I ran to the train. And so I was like, I need to make sure I know what time just in case this runs late. So I was often checking my phone in the middle of the cinema, right? Something I never thought I would catch myself doing. But I devised a way to look at my phone without disturbing anyone else.
Please tell me you put you zipped up your jumper, put the hood on, put your head inside your jumper and brought your phone up so that it didn't...
No, I just did it on the inside of my jacket. I just tucked my phone in. I was just like, I'm big enough.
Why didn't I think of that?
No one can see over my shoulders. I just looked at the time and then put it back down. But what annoyed me more about this than anything is that I was being nice to everyone and no one saw my phone. No one saw any light or anything. And it just made me think of every single time I've ever seen anyone check their phone ever in any film I've ever been to since the invention of mobile phones. And I've figured out a way so no one can see me checking my phone. And there's like hundreds of, if not thousands of people who have been checking their phones and pissing off all the people next to them, behind them and all this. And I'm just there and I'm just like, why the fuck does no one do that? Why? Right? I also have a minor dick.
Yeah.
I don't really know if it's a dick or not. Anyway, this couple...
We'll inspect it thoroughly.
Probably like late teens couple came in.
Yep, no, they're dicks.
Right, it was like I was like waiting for the movie. They came in, and the guy was like, "Oh, do you want to sit at the back?" And the girl was like, "Oh, no, I don't really like sitting at the back. I don't really get the point." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, fair." And then she's like, "Oh, you want to?"
There's a guy who's thoroughly disappointed.
This is the thing. This is the thing. And then she's like, "You want to sit here?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then they sat there. And they were talking and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, I forgot something." Like went to grab something, whatever. And came back, and then he was like chatting to her, and he was like, "Oh, are you cold?" And she's like, "Nah." And I was just like,
so great. That's my favorite thing.
And I was just like, I totally know what this guy's thinking. And their entire conversation, like whenever they were talking, she was totally on the friends basis, and he was totally on like the relationship basis. And it was amazing.
He brought her to a Detective Pikachu movie.
It was great.
Probably not the best movie to do that.
It was so funny. It was so funny. So I don't know if that's really a dick. That's just kind of just like a little memory there.
Amazing.
Oh, that's fair.
Very good.
That's actually, you know what? That's a cinema
it.
saint because that's more entertaining than the film is.
All right, let's head on into our positives. Kane Dogs, you want to start us off?
Sure thing. So my positive of this film, I really liked the cinematography in probably the first half of it.
Okay.
I think when the kid, I have no idea his name. He was 21 years old, not a kid. When the guy made it to the city. And the entire time from then on, when he was in the city and when he was going through his father's like detective office and like apartment and all that stuff at that night, I thought that the cinematography was really great. I think they actually like put effort into make like interesting shots, and I thought it looked really, really good. And they played with like lens flares and stuff, and so it actually was like visually interesting.
You know, I did watch that and I was like, that's a lot of lens flare.
Yeah, it reminded me of Super 8 a little bit. Which was pretty cool, but then after then, it wasn't as good. But that scene where he's in his father's apartment, I thought it was shot really well.
Yeah,
Nice. Kane Dogs.
Cool.
Most positive.
I think the most positive, coming off of the backlash of Sonic and the trailer of Sonic that I'm sure most people are aware of by now, that just the way they somehow, Brody's shaking his head as if he doesn't. Shut up. You know,
Jordan's patting a cat as if he doesn't. We can say whatever we want. No one's looking. We can say whatever we want.
We can say whatever we want. Angus is wearing the gloves.
Well, that one's true. But...
You could put some gloves on.
Yeah. 2 of those 3 were correct.
Considering that they got like the characterization, so like the model generation on the trailer of Sonic so wrong, I think I'm just going to commend how correctly they portrayed all of the Pokemon. The other thing is I really like seeing Dopender from Deadpool, because he's clearly been brought on because Ryan Reynolds was in it.
Yeah.
So Dopender at the beginning is the friend of our main character who's like, you should go catch that Cubone or whatever. I just love that he was in it. I was like, it's Dopender! And I'm like, oh, he's in it, because clearly Ryan Reynolds must just be mates. And he was like, hey, bud, come do this movie with me. There's one more scene towards the end where there's all those balloons going through the city. And I was like, Michael Keaton, Batman. That's cool. Because the Joker does that. There's like a parade and all the balloons are full of gas.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not meant to be a callback, but I was like, it's cool.
My most positive thing is probably just the world building. Like, obviously, this is coming off the back of, like, just
a lot of
generations upon
films.
Generations of games and animations, like TV series and movies and stuff like that. And I just think that this film did a really good job of... It did a really good job of just kind of brushing over a few things that made you want more. Like, there wasn't a lot of, like, battle scenes and everything like that, which is obviously the first kind of Pokemon stuff. They chucked in there for a bit of fan service for the people that know, like, all the history. They're like, oh, it's that. But they did it in a way that kind of excited someone that didn't know a lot about it. Like, I don't know a lot about it. I've had a bit of a background with it, but I'm not, like, a massive fan. But they did it in a way that I was like, that's cool. I want to see more of that. I hope they do more of that. And they didn't in this movie, but, I mean, if this is anywhere near successful, there's obviously going to be a whole bunch more movies come out.
I just wanted a classic video. Like, I want a battle game. Like, like a movie that's based on the battles. Like, my favorite scene in this whole movie was just watching, like, Pikachu go on with Charizard, and I'm like, God, I can't wait to see them fight. And then they just kind of don't. I'm like, that's the one thing I kind of really want to see. The biggest, probably, like the most I've got to do with Pokemon growing up was probably the game Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, true.
But at the same time, that made it really hard for me to remember which are Pokemon and which are characters from other games. I was like, when's Samus gonna come in? I'm like, wait, no, different game. Hang on. Yeah, Falcon Punch.
Surely Kirby's a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pikachu, use Falcon Punch.
What? That never happens again.
You got a weird version, man.
Wait, while we're in this weird realm, how fucked up is Mr. Mime as a Pokemon, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like this weird guy who's a mime, and then the rest are all like animals. It's like, there's a dog, there's a cat, there's a turtle, there's a dude dressed up as a mime. It's like, one of these things is not like the other.
He just really wanted to be a Pokemon.
He's had just a lot of surgical like implants and stuff. I love that the only way to interact with him is to also mime.
Also mime, yeah.
That was a great scene.
Yeah.
That was a good scene. I really like that scene. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's head into our negatives.
Alrighty.
K-Dogs, would you like to start us off again?
Sure. So I think originally I was waiting for Brody to butt in there, but he didn't. Originally I was
the power I have taken in this podcast.
Shut the fuck up. Originally I walked out of this being like, wow, the acting in this was incredibly bad. Not a Ryan Reynolds, just 'cause Ryan Reynolds has proven he's got incredible chops in both voice acting and just general comedic acting, I think.
Also has mountain chops in this film.
That being said,
Incredible chops.
I'm sure it's probably going to be pointed out that
Pikachu.
it's relatively hard to differentiate himself from Deadpool at this point.
Yeah.
And it's also because, like, a lot of people are like, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. He's not.
Yeah, he's played him 3 times.
He does an exaggeration of, like, well, technically 4 times. He does an exaggeration to be Deadpool, and he's done that exact same kind of exaggeration of comedy to be Pikachu. But I think it was the other characters that are, like, the main guy and the girl. And I was like, cool, it's really bad acting. And then when I thought about it more, I thought, it's not really bad acting. It's really bad writing. Because the lines that they had are impossible to say seriously. And it's because all of their introductions and all of their things were just really clunky and pathetic. I think the one that stood out most was the girl introducing herself, and she's like, hi, I'm this person, and there's nothing I love more than sniffing out a story, and I can smell a story from miles away, and I'm the best there is.
Yeah, I work at CNMM, and I don't fear fear, and I don't taste. I also don't see light, and I don't like to see. That was weird. When she's slowly walking down the stairs with a massive landscape behind her. See, that was a weird scene.
And it was just like, it's so... You can't deliver that line well, and there's just so many lines where it's like, look out! Like, you can't do it well.
So that is
always going to look bad.
This was very kind of old noir, like Humphrey Bogart-esque, and they even had like a Humphrey Bogart film playing in like
but it was just really poorly done.
It is kind of reminiscent of the video games, because you've got like, they don't actually speak in the video games, but it's like
it's
speech bubbles, and that's exactly how the speech
the
sounds
thing, like,
would sound like. And the other thing too is it's preaching to an audience of a collective, like an average age of about 6. It can't be a lot of dialogue, which is kind of the way that I had to go into it. I'm like, this movie isn't for me.
I think the thing is, like,
was this film also shot with all the actors doing the same lines in Japanese?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'd be really curious about that, because because
I
Pokemon's originally
I
a
want to see the
Japanese
pathetic
thing, right?
dub.
So my negative for this is the random... Can't sit down, Jordan. Is the random, Disney-esque, Hollywood-esque CGI moments. Yes. That have nothing to do with the story and kind of just thrown in there. Like when all of the giant turtle Pokemon are like coming out of the ground and they're all like running around. It's literally, they run out of a facility, and then for about 10 minutes they're running, trying to survive after these giant turtles that they're standing on are getting up. And they should have died. And then they finally get to save all the turtles, sit back down again. And then the next shot is them like running through a fence. And so you could have just removed all of that scene, and it would have just been them running out of the facility, then running out of the fence.
I think those turtles were like way too big as well.
They were massive as well.
And like, where is the room for that?
And also in the establishing shot, which felt very, very Disney, with the establishing shot coming out at the very, very beginning of the movie, of the facility. I was like, that felt like a shot out of like the first Avengers film or whatever.
Yeah.
In that shot, they weren't even like near a forest either. It was just like in the a ravine in like the middle of like some hills.
Yeah, it looked like a deserty type.
Yeah, and then later in the film, they run into a forest, and there are giant city-sized Pokemon that stand up and that just cause these like massive earthquakes and like ravines and crevasses to like form.
You think someone would notice?
Yeah, and they finally get away, and all the turtles sit back down again. and then they look around and the facility is exactly the same as was. They're not in a forest, and then just like exit the fence, and it was like, what the hell just happened?
The other thing with that particular scene is, like, because it said that they're experimenting on growth, they had to 100% after doing that been like, well, we definitely can't do this for literally any other Pokemon. Imagine doing that to a Charizard.
Yeah.
Like, there goes the planet, I guess. Like,
it's true.
They must have done that and be like, well, thank God we picked one that's really good at disguising itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was such a spectacle scene.
Yeah,
And
it was such a thing where it was like, they just put this in there because of the CGI.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and it just made it really disappointing to me.
Yeah.
Because up until that point, the movie did pretty well. There was some like VR type stuff, which was very, very like almost over the top, but it was kind of still served a purpose to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? But then they got to that moment and it was just like, why is this in the film?
And the only plot point that it really did was hurting Pikachu, but Pikachu would have gotten hurt so much when he was
they had
falling
like four
through
ninjas.
trees
They had
and,
four
like,
ninjas like coming after them and stuff. Like could
and then he gets hit by a little rock, and they're like,
I thought that was going to be a joke because there was a giant rock falling towards Pikachu.
Yeah.
And then it hit like another rock, split off. The giant rock went one way, and a tiny little rock hit Pikachu in the chest. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh no, he's actually injured from that. Okay.
Which was really bad because all the kids were shocked and Brody went, no. It was horrible.
Yeah, idiot Pikachu.
You idiot.
For sure.
Angus, you're negative.
My biggest negative is just it's still kind of awkward, the interactions between real life actors and CGI characters.
Yeah.
And like obviously on set it must be so awkward to be that emotionally
like
connected to a tennis ball on a stick kind of thing. And I think like the easiest way to do it is to just not have them interact physically as much. Like you can still have that emotional thing because CGI has come such a long way, and the emotion on Pikachu was awesome. Like you could tell what he was thinking by the look in his eyebrows, like, which was amazing. But there's a few scenes where like, you know, he's patting Pikachu on the head and his hand kind of goes through his head and you're like, "Ugh," or the eye line's slightly off and stuff like that. Like it's easy to fix that. Like just cut in closer to him so Pikachu's not in the scene, or just follow the eye line, or you know, stuff like that. Or
shoot it from a different angle. So, like if you're doing it so that it's shot from behind, then when his hand goes back, you can literally.
Oh, the Game of Thrones thing. Like, every time Daenerys like interacted with her dragon, she'd always put her like hand, and the dragon would just be in front of her hand.
Yeah.
That
Stuff like
I also knew that, and that's what I'm referencing.
Yeah.
But like, I think this movie, or the people working on this movie were like, just had so much confidence in themselves to make these amazing CGI things, and they did. But sometimes it's good to go back to those old kind of smoke and mirror techniques of just like, just don't have them in the frame. Like sometimes the best thing is when it's not in frame. Like
or make
classic
a
horror
physical
stuff is like
Pikachu that's green.
I think go a step further. Take a page out of the Muppet book and make all of it practical effects and puppets. That's all I want.
Let's go back to the old Yoda days.
Let's just dress Ryan Reynolds up as a Pikachu. He's just in a Pikachu onesie.
Just a Pikachu onesie with yellow
he
face
looks
paint.
surprisingly like my dad.
Yeah.
Did you see Ryan Reynolds being the dad?
Yeah, immediately.
Like,
the minute he was like,
as soon as that,
the minute he was like, your dad went missing, and also I'm the only Pokemon that can talk, kid. And I'm like, oh yeah, the dad, cool.
Yeah. Again, like it's designed for kids with an average age of 6. To be
definitely,
I knew it, kind of thing.
I overestimated the reveal because when they pick up the little canister of gas and it's like R on it, I'm like, oh, Team Rocket.
Yeah,
I wonder who they got
Rocket
to play Team. I'm like, I really hope that they got some really cool actors that have been kept on the lowdown. That like maybe just
the down low.
No, on the lowdown.
On the lowdown.
That like maybe Ryan Reynolds is just friends, whether it's like Blake Lively and Hugh Jackman or something. But how great would it have been?
Can you imagine Hugh Jackman?
Maybe not that particular grouping, but it just would have been fantastic.
I think that's the best.
I think
It
that's
just would have
perfect,
been
John.
fantastic if they got some great actors.
Somebody hire this man.
If they got some great
Jordan,
actors.
casting agent, looking for work.
I
Always
just really
looking for
think it
work.
would have been cool if they got actors and that wasn't leaked in the trailers, and for it to be Team Rocket and for it to be this like in
Yeah,
Deadpool
that
2
would've
they
been
get
cool.
Brad Pitt for like a split second.
Yeah.
It just would have been cool to have a little thing like that where I was like, oh, there's an arm, like Team Rocket. And then they never did Team Rocket and I spent the whole movie waiting for it. I'm like, I wonder who they're going to get to play Team Rocket. And then it was like, no, it's just called R for no reason. And I was like, oh, okay.
Cool.
Missed the beat, but it's fine. And then they're like, also, rich white guy. I'm like, oh, bad guy, cool. Sick.
There you go. That's what we thought of Pokemon Detective Pikachu. K-Dogs, what are we watching next week?
I'm pretty sure it's John Wick 3.
John Wick
But I'm
3.
gonna bloody double check. But if it is, we're fucking doing that movie because I've waited my whole life, and by that I mean since John Wick 2.
Makes sense.
Jordan
Checks out.
Jordan only started living when John Wick 2 came out.
Yeah. John Wick 3.
John Wick 3.
John
Sweet.
Wick 3.
All right, make sure you
Yay.
tune into that one. If you do watch it, or if you have any thoughts on John Wick 1 or 2 or 3, let us know.
Or 4
on
or 5.
Or
Yeah,
4 or
the
5.
Give us
trilogy
your
as a
concept
whole.
ideas.
For sure. Cool. All right. Swing us around then.
That's the whole egg in a nutshell. See you later.
Well, lads, I've had a pokeball doing this podcast. I guess we'll see you next week for another one. All right. Bye.
Another one. I'm gonna zap those home and I'll see you later.
That's the end of our podcast. It looks like it's our cue bone to leave.
This whole podcast was nuts. It was like a pick cashew. That's all I got.
What?
Thank you for listening to Film Science Podcast. You can reach us on iTunes and Twitter and all that stuff. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Bye.